listening to Power Producers Shop Talk, where we are refining and redefining the sales game by equipping you with the tools you need to differentiate yourself in the marketplace.
Listening to the podcast is only going to get you so far. Why not take your game to the next level? Check out Power Producer Basecamp on killingcommercial.com today.
Tactical skills that'll help you provide deliverable value to your clients and prospects.
Want to have the sweet swag that we send out from the Power Producers podcast for your clients and employees? Check out policyt.com today.
And action items that you can provide to take your prospects and clients to the next level.
Want to create an online presence but don't know how to start? Check out crushingcontent.com. It's done for you, so all you have to do is show up.
This is Power Producer Shop Talk, production redefined. Are you ready to feel the power?
Guess what? I bet you 75% of them have nothing on safety, insurance, or risk management. You could actually send the editor, my approach would be write a blog post or write what I would use as an article in the magazine, send it to the editor and say, hey, not asking for anything in return. Just noticed you haven't had any safety or insurance or risk management content. And maybe that's not the purpose of your publication, but it seems like you're educating these shop owners on a lot of different things. I just wanted to offer an article that I wrote. If you'd like to publish it, great. If not, you're not going to hurt my feelings. And if you do like it and it's something you decide to publish, I'm happy to be a regular contributor. I just rolled off doing that for a different publication, and I'm looking for a place to kind of keep my skills sharp. Get yourself published, man. Like, it's crazy to think about. One of the best examples of getting yourself published to build credibility that I know about, and I know Cody is going down this road right now, but it is my friend Steven Sedlak, who wrote the book, The Work Comp Effect. And literally, dude has the book on Amazon. He sells a ton of it to insurance agents, but the reality, it was really designed to go get it in the hands of whoever he was calling on. And they're like, dude wrote the book. He probably knows what he's talking about. Let me call him and get a meeting because we have some workers' comp issues. I'm not saying you need to become a published author, but I can tell you, you can do that really, really inexpensively. Really inexpensively. Like, you could probably author, format, and publish a book with all of the graphics and everything for under $250. And you can self-publish on Amazon. There are a lot of places, and Cody, I know that you're using a publishing company, and I don't mean to pour salt in the wound, so please don't take it that way. But there are a lot of publishing companies that are going to promise you the moon and charge you a fortune for it. And I watched James Jenkins go through an absolute train wreck when he was dealing with his. I will tell you guys, I self-published Extra 2 Minutes. I self-published Dirty 130. I did my own cover art. I did my own graphics on the cover. Now, when I say I did my own, I had concept, and for some of it I created, but I outsourced to Fiverr and had them do the formatting and all of that for like $20. So the thing is, here's why I wanted to do that. There was actually a really good reason. And I'm, this might be one of those where I look like a raging moron for doing it this way, because the reality is I sold enough copies of Dirty 130 that it would be on the New York Times bestseller list if I would have released it that way. But I didn't. I self-released it. And I remember Jason Cass, telling me I was foolish for doing it the way that I was. And usually when Cass tells me I'm doing something that's foolish, it means I'm actually going down the road I want to go down. So that was actually a vote of confidence more than anything else. But the reason that I did it is I didn't want some publisher to get the data. I wanted to know who I was selling the book to. I wanted to know who was buying it, shipping it. So if you guys remember, if you've been around long enough, when I released Dirty 130, I did a pre-launch where I would send signed copies out as soon as it published. I literally had thousands of them that I signed and we shipped directly from my agency. But guess what? All of those agents are in my CRM now. If I go to what do I gain? Maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe I get more speaking opportunities. Maybe a publisher picks me up. I doubt it. But I don't feel like I gain enough financially to invest the money in publishing something when I can do it for much less actually gain data that will make me money over time, and I control the entire process. That was the reason behind it. In this situation, there is no chance in the world that I would ever go to a publishing company to write a niche specific book on insurance and risk management, because my unit cost right now, if I want to bulk order Dirty 130 or Extra 2 Minutes, I get them for $3 a copy. So I can $2.50 to $3 a copy. So if that's the author's price, and I'm gonna do this, and I'll share the process along the way. I'll share the book and everything, but we're gonna start writing. We're gonna have probably 5 niche specific books that we're gonna use on our marketing drops published in 2025. I firmly believe that's what's gonna happen. And I'm happy to share, everything we're doing, but I don't need a professional publisher to create a leave behind for me. It doesn't make any sense. I would much rather, spend $3, buy 100 of them for $300, and then take my chances when I go out and do my marketing drops. I don't know how many people like what the conversion percentages and everything like that is for Sedlak. What I do know is he has a lot of people that reach out to him because he leaves a book in their office, and it's not that good. Like, I'm not saying that to knock on Steven. He's a really good friend of mine. I'm just telling you, like, it's a book about workers' comp, guys. It's like nobody's going to pick this thing up and be riveted by the storytelling and mastery of Steven Sedlak. What they are going to find out is, here's how you save money on your workers' comp. This is why return to work is important. This is what the split point is, whatever you want to say. I mean, and Micah Salas is doing the same thing. I completely forgot about Micah's book, but yeah, Micah did the same thing. I can promise you this. If you don't think that you can author a book, let me just reassure you that there are probably 24 college professors and high school teachers somewhere across the eastern half of the United States that are dying in laughter right now that I have anything published with my name on it, let alone a couple of books that did fairly well. So anybody can do this. And I would tell you, like, you could even write your blog posts, and when you get to enough of them, take your blog posts and put them in print form and make each one a chapter, and now you have a book. I think I told you guys, like, again, double dipping, triple dipping, when the whole reason we do Carpool Closer, and Carpool Closer's been on a bit of a sabbatical. He's coming back. But the whole reason we did that was because number one, I wanted to train my son, who was riding to work with me every day, so he could ask me a question and I could answer it, and he would learn by editing the video, hearing my answer, and then ultimately seeing this stuff in the real world. But it wasn't just that. It's that we already have every one that's ever been recorded is already transcribed. It's already edited in written form. And we have about 100 more we have to do. But when they're done, that's my next book. It's a daily sales reader. It will have 365 days worth of a quick sales lesson and a story for a producer. But I already created the content every day over the time that we were recording those videos. So if you think about all the things that you're doing, like, I just want you to realize that it's not as hard as we make it out to be. Give me an hour webinar on workers' comp or cyber liability or insuring a residential service contractor, and I could take enough out of that one hour and have my content strategy for the rest of the year. I could have a book written. I have blog posts, reels, shorts, all of that stuff. So don't let time be an excuse. Don't let equipment be an excuse. Don't let I don't know how to do this be an excuse, because it's all BS. You have every ounce of resources you need right here on this end of the Zoom right now. Plus, there's plenty of people out there that could help you as well. So think about those things. Ultimately, if you really want to get wild with this and think big picture, you build a captive for that niche, and you own that captive, and you take the underwriting profits. You take some level of financial risk, but you seed it and you do it. And there's ways that you can do that. But if you truly become a niche expert, why in the world would you let an insurance carrier keep the lion's share of the profits on the profitable year if the swing isn't that bad for you? And I can tell you guys, there are ways that you can do this without taking a ton of risk on the front end, even though you're not going to take a huge amount, in a captive. If you set it up right, you're only going to be exposed for whatever, um, your stop losses are and all of that other stuff. But a great way to look at this is the protected sell captive option. And basically what that does for me is I had to pay $50,000 in cash to start it. So that hurts a lot, but it also is motivating, which means I'm going to go out and write as much insurance as I humanly can to populate that and get my money back. But what makes it nice so it's $50 or $50,000 per million in capacity, and you can buy as many as you want. I have 2 million in capacity right now. And I still get my same commission. I still get my same regular profit sharing. And I also get to share in the underwriting profits of the captive itself. So let's talk about this for a second. So if I peg this thing at $1 million, year number one, and I max out $1 million in premium in the first layer of a captive, at 15 points, I bring in $150,000. Okay. If I blow through my losses and we're at $1 million in losses, I don't have any exposure. My only exposure is the 50 grand. I'm not going to get my underwriting profits that year, but I still got in 150,000 less the 50 that I invested. So I net at $100,000, which is 10%, which is what every comp carrier pays, 10% or less in most cases anyhow. So I can get in there, and now I really look different, because when you walk in and say, I have a carrier that wants to write your business because they understand your industry, versus, hey, I own an insurance captive that's specific to precision machine shops, and we've had a lot of success in lowering premiums for companies like yours. Would you be interested in talking on what that looks like? You're a different animal at that point. You actually own technically the insurance company, even though it's a captive. That's a different conversation than you're going to have with the producer. And if you really aggregate your book the right way, you could probably build a full-blown captive and just offshoot or outsource the seed money to the members. Let them collectively own it with you. You still take a management fee, you still share in profits, but let them invest the seed money so that the agency's not on the hook for all of it. It's just a matter of what your own risk tolerance is going to be. The biggest issues people have is they're afraid they're not going to know enough. They're afraid they're not going to have as many leads. They're afraid they're not going to get the credibility. All of that is BS that lives in your head, and you need to expunge that, because if you follow the process and you do your market analysis, your competitive analysis, and all of that, you're not going to get so far down the road you can't get this thing off the ground. So what I would tell everybody is, I would say, as a challenge between now and next time, think about it. Like, just put it down, put the pen to the paper. If you don't have an idea what niches you want, and this is the agency principles call, I get that. Many of you are not out producing, and that's okay. You still can brainstorm about what you want the complexion of your agency to be, and what you want niches to be, and where you think you can immediately fit things right now and shift some things around. So think about that. Like, if I'm Alan up in Vermont right now, maybe I look at it and say, these maple syrup guys are enough. I don't want to insure any more of those. It seems like that's all we have around these parts. Maybe landscapers is a good one. I know that the people that are in the Northeast that write landscapers make a ton of money on snow plowing operations in the off season. So maybe going deep on that and showing you understand the difference, and you can help control cost, and you understand, like, I can tell you right now, Doug Benz has a nightmare in New York, because in New York, if you're a snow plowing operation, as soon as the snow starts falling and your contract kicks in, you are now responsible for anything that happens in the common area of that parking lot, period, whether it's your work or not. That's how all the contracts read. And so he has to go in and really counsel these people on setting up the job sites and everything from an appropriate risk standpoint, so that they have the ability to operate profitably. But that might be a good niche to get into if you can build some stuff around it. Think about those things. Ultimately, where do I want to be as an agency? How many producers do I see myself having? How much revenue would I allocate to a niche before I think we need to get more people in it? And then, here's my grand vision, just so you guys know, for my agency. What I think, what I would like to see happen is, I want to take somebody like Kyle, who's a great producer, and mold him into a better leader than what he is right now, But let Kyle take whatever his niche or three things is, and let him run that segment of the business for me. Kyle, I'm going to give you 10 points in override on everything that's written in that niche. I'm going to give you the authority to interview and bring candidates to the table. And ultimately, I'll make the decision as to financial, what we're going to pay, whether or not we're going to hire them. But I want you to recruit. I want you to populate that thing. And I want you to, service people, producers, whatever. But I want you to run that like it's your business inside of mine moving forward. And if I can have a dozen, 12 to 15 things that are all humming at $1 million a year, I mean, I don't think that's too much to ask for. I think $1 million a year, if you got 3-4 people working in a niche, there's plenty of producers that have $1 million books, but I just built a $12 to $15 million agency that quick. And I think that's how you do it. Agency generalist, producer specific, but then give them some skin in the game. And guess what the other thing is? Maybe I have a niche that a carrier wants, and I don't have that carrier, but there's another agency who does. Maybe I just sell that niche. Maybe I just sell that book of business. I mean, that was the original plan. I can unbolt Florida wedding insurance. I can unbolt, Florida childcare insurance. If somebody wants to buy my childcare book, great. Here's a whole brand and everything around it. Let's talk multiples, and I keep everything else. So that's another way to look at it. But next week, what we'll do is we'll take this, and then we're going to plug it into how to use it in a trade show type environment so that you can maximize your investment of time and energy there. Because I got to tell you guys, I think that is an untapped resource that a lot of agents are not using because they think there's no return, but you can't listen to the status quo. This is one of those places where your peer group are C players. They're average. They're going to do enough to get by. And sometimes that means showing up, setting up a booth, and calling it a day. Let me hand out some business cards. I'll give you a firm handshake and a quick smile. We're all lovable. We're all salespeople. You're not going to get results that way. I can show you how to get results in a trade show that will get you a massive multiple on the investment of money and time. And I think that'll be a good topic for next time. So catch you guys next week if I don't talk to you ahead of time.